Hiya, so today we're going to talk about the show me tell me questions. The car that we're using today is a 2013 Ford Focus. You'll be asked two questions during the test. One will be at the start before you start driving, and the second question will be on the drive as you're going along. One is a show me, one is a tell me question. So if it's a show me question, then you'll actually have to act it out. So if it's let's say a question about the lights, then you have to put the lights on, get out of the car, walk around, check that they're working, and then jump back in the car afterwards. If it's a tell me question, then all you have to do is explain that in words. We'll go through the questions one by one, and I'll show you where they are in this car. They may vary slightly depending on what car you're using, but you'll find that most of the symbols are the same anyway, and in quite a similar place. So the first question that we're going to go for is tell me how you would adjust your head restraint to give you the best form of protection in the case of an accident. So headrest should usually be level with the top of our head. Make sure then that our back support isn't too far back. We want it to make sure it supports our back and also supports our neck. So if ever we're in an accident, it doesn't shoot back too far before we get any support. So level with the top of our head, supporting our neck. The second question will be, show me how you would check that the power steering is working. So usually with the power steering, if the engine's off, then we'll feel a lot of tension in the steering wheel, and that power steering won't kick in until the car and the engine has been turned back on again. So what we do is we hold the steering wheel, we feel the tension, we turn it, and then we turn the engine on, and we feel that steering wheel become lighter and more responsive. So you can see here we've got the tension in the steering wheel, so we want to prove that it's working when we turn the engine on. So we're turning the wheel, we feel the tension, and then we turn the engine on, and as we turn the wheel, it should feel lighter and more responsive. So the third question we're going to look at is checking that the park and brake is working while keeping the car under full control. So what we're going to do on this occasion is we're checking that the handbrake is working. So handbrake is just another term used for the park and brake. So to check that it's working and keep the car under full control is we're going to apply the foot brake, release the handbrake, reapply the handbrake, and then remove the foot brake afterwards. If the handbrake wasn't working, then the car would be rolling. We keep the foot brake on to make sure the car doesn't roll backwards. So question number 4, can you show me how to check that the horn is working? So on this occasion, all we do is we press the centre of the steering wheel to hear a beep. So question number 5, can you show me how you would check that the indicators are working? So on this occasion, what we do is we press the hazard warning lights, because that will turn on all the indicators at the same time for us. If it's a show me question, then what we're going to do then is we're going to get out of the car, walk all the way around, and just check that they're all working. If it's a tell me question, then again we just explain that in words. So question number 6, can you tell me how you would check that your brakes are working? With this question, what we would say is we would check the brakes somewhere safe, and we want to make sure that the brakes feel firm and responsive, and make sure they don't feel spongy or slack. So question number 7, can you tell me how you would check that your brake lights are working? So if this was a show me question, so could you show me how you would check that your brake lights are working? You'd ask your examiner to go around the back of the car for you, you'll turn the engine on and you'll press the brake pedal, and he'll tell you then whether they're working. Failing that, if you were on your own, you'd reverse up to a reflective surface, brick wall, garage door, anything like that. Reverse up to it, press your brake pedal, and then just look out of the back window just to make sure you can see the reflection coming out from both sides. So question number 8, we're going to talk about the lights. So we're looking at now checking that the headlights and tail lights are working. Before we go through the questions for these headlights, I'm just going to show you the dial for the lights and let you know what each thing does. So here what we have is the dial for the lights. So at the moment you can see that it's pointing towards a symbol with what looks like a light bulb there to aim it. the white line is pointing towards it, so that's on the automatic setting. If I do one twist to the left, those are the dipped headlights. Those are lights that we normally use for nighttime driving. If we press this button in here, and you can see it's got different numbers just underneath, so it tells us how to set the angle of our lights. So we adjust the dip on our headlights to suit the road conditions. So if we set that to number 4, you can see it's pointing more towards the road, and if we point it to number 1, then it's pointing up a little bit more horizontal. I always like to keep mine in a nice neutral position, 2 or 3, just so I don't dazzle oncoming drivers. Pop that back in. If we do one more twist to the left, so that there is the side lights. It's not a particularly bright light, doesn't help us see anything on the road really, but it makes us a little bit more visible to other drivers. So in dark, dull, rainy conditions, cars will see us a little bit better in their mirrors. We also have the tail lights in the back as well, which makes us a little bit more visible. We have the offsetting, side lights, its headlights, and the automatic setting. So question number 8, can you show me how you would check that headlights and tail lights are working? So on this occasion, what we're going to do is we're going to switch the dial over to the headlights, and then we're going to get out of the car, check the front headlights and check the tail lights on the back, make sure that they're both working. We also have the symbol come up on the dashboard as well, so that tells us that the headlights are on. We also need to check outside the car to make sure that they're working as well. So question number 9 is, can you show me how you change your lights from dipped headlights to full beam? Now the full beam lights are the lights that we use on unlit roads when there's no other traffic around. They're very bright lights, so we make sure that we don't use them with traffic coming towards us. They're very bright and they will dazzle the oncoming cars. So if we're using them on unlit country roads, for example, we put them on when the road's clear, we drive with them, and then as soon as we see an oncoming car, or we go back to a part of the road where there's street lights, then we're going to turn them back off again. So we're on the automatic setting at the moment. We're going to turn it to dipped headlights, which is that setting there, and then to turn the full beam on, what we then do is we have the stalk on this side, and then we're going to push that forward. You can see then we get the blue symbol just come up on the dashboard, which tells us that our full beam is on. Those are much brighter lights, and like I said, they will dazzle oncoming cars, so do make sure you turn them off if anyone approaches. To take the headlights full beam back off again, we just pull that stalk backwards again. We'll just turn it back off for us, and then we're going to turn the lights back to the automatic setting afterwards. Question number 10, can you show me how you would check that your front and rear fog lights are working, and tell me when you would use them? So we'd use our fog lights in foggy conditions when visibility drops below 100 meters. So to put on the front and rear fog lights, we'd have to move the dial to the headlight setting. The 2 symbols on the left, top and bottom, so you got the front and the rear fog light. So we press those in, and you can see the symbol just coming up on the dashboard. So those are the front and rear fog lights. We press the button back in, they'll turn back off. Question number 11, can you tell me where you would find the information for the recommended tyre pressure, and what would you use to check the tyre pressure with? So we find the information for the recommended tyre pressure in the car manual. Sometimes it's dependent based on speed or weight that you're going to travel in your car, so refer back to the manufacturer's handbook. To check the tyre pressure, what we're going to do is use a reliable pressure gauge. We can find one of these at a petrol station, or if you have one at home. So the answer will be, we'll refer to the user's handbook, and we're going to use a reliable pressure gauge. Question number 12, can you tell me how you would check the tyres for the correct and legal tyre tread depth? So the minimum legal tyre tread depth is 1.6 millimeters. We can use that using a little gauge very similar to this. So the way this works is have a little needle just here, and we have numbers on the side. Not sure if you can see that there. Got numbers on the side there. So what we're going to do with this is we stick it out, we pop this in between the treads of the tyres, we push it down, and it should then give us a reading on the side. Yeah, so we've got that in millimeters. When you buy a brand new tyre, you're probably going to look to have around about 9 millimeters on them, give or take, you know, which kind of tyre that you buy. They do recommend that you should change your tyres once it gets down to about 3 millimeters, but the minimum legal tyre tread depth is 1.6 millimeters, which is very little. I'll show you here. So we get a brand new tyre, we're looking for about 8 or 9 millimeters, which is about, there we go, about that deep. When we get down to 1.6, looking at this here, you can see it's very, very minimum amount. Tyres are one of those things you really don't want to skimp out on. It's the one thing that keeps your car in contact with the road, so do make sure you kind of replace them when they do start to get low. You also want to make sure that the tyres are going to be in good condition. You don't want to see any cuts, tears, slashes or bulges, or any kind of uneven wear over the tyre. Make sure that you don't see any bald spots or any wire sticking out from the tyres as well. So question number 13, can you show me how you would clean your windscreen using the wash and wipe? So on this occasion, what we're going to do is pull the stalk towards us, which squirts the water onto the front windscreen, and then the wipers will automatically come on. So I'm going to pull this stalk on the right hand side towards me, and it squirts water out onto the windscreen, wipers automatically come on, and it would then automatically go off as well. So question number 14, can you show me how you would demist the front and rear windows? So on my car, we just have buttons which we're just going to press in. With some cars, what you'll have to do is turn the heating up, put the fan on, and make sure your window setting, your heating set is on the windscreen. So these are the controls for the heating in the windscreen. If we're going to demist the front window, I'm going to press this button here, so the light comes on. And if we want to demist the back window, I'll press this button. Not all cars will have the heated front windscreen, which is this button here. So if you don't have that, then what we do is we turn the heating up, hotter the better I find. You always make sure that your windscreen, the fan goes up as well, so more powerful the better. And also as well, make sure we have the windscreen setting on as well, so you can see the symbol just come up on there as well. So make sure the heating's on, we turn the fan up, and we make sure the windscreen setting is on. So question number 15 is, can you tell me how you would know if we had a problem with the ABS? So on this occasion, what we're going to have is a light come up on the dashboard. If that comes on while you're driving, then we know we have a problem with the ABS, and it's something we want to make sure we get checked out straight away. So when we turn the engine on, we'll see the ABS light come up on the dashboard. If that was to come on and stay on before we set off on our journey, then we want to make sure we get that checked over. For now, I'm just going to show you where the light is. So it will pop up on the dashboard just inside where it says 120 miles an hour on the speeder. Obviously every car is slightly different, but in this case this is where it pops up. You just know where to look when I turn the engine on. So I'm just going to turn the ignition on for now, and you'll see it just come up on the dashboard, the ABS light just there. So if we had a problem with that, that would come on and it would stay on. Now there's one more question just to take into consideration. It's not listed as a question that you should know if you show me tell me a question, but I know it is a question that some of my pupils have been asked before. It's not a particularly difficult one, and that is, can you show me how you'd put your driver's side window down and then put it back up again? So we do that just in case we ever need to clear the window, you know, if it's ever get misted up. So we're going to put the window down and just pop it back up again. So what we're going to do is use the buttons here to take the window down, and then back up again. Okay, so that's all the questions for inside the car. The next 4 questions we're going to have is going to be under the bonnet. so we're going to have a look at that next. What we're going to be looking at is the reservoirs for the brake fluid, the engine coolant, the windscreen wash, and also how we're going to check the level of the oil. So to open the bonnet, what we're going to have to do is go around to the passenger side and then lift up the lever. So the lever's just here. Pull that up. Then we'll go around to the front, and then just underneath then we'll see just this yellow lever just here. So we're going to slide that across, lift up the bonnet. As we lift up the bonnet, we've got the rod here, so we're going to grab that on the yellow part. We'll make sure we hold it on the yellow part just because the metal gets quite hot as well. So we put the rod in this place here. You'll see the arrow, so that points and tells us where it's got to go in. So a picture of the bag. So we've got 4 questions under the bonnet. So they're going to be asking about where the brake fluid is, the engine coolant, the windscreen wash, and the dipstick for the oil. So the first question under the bonnet will be, can you show me where the brake fluid is and tell me what kind of level it should be at? So this is the brake fluid, and it should be between the minimum and maximum mark on the fluid reservoir. The best way to remember that is it has a octagon shape on the cap, which is very similar to a stop sign. So the second question under the bonnet is, can you tell me where the engine coolant is and tell me what kind of level it should be at? So this is the engine coolant, and the level should be between minimum and maximum. The reason it's a funny colour, it's usually on the pink or blue, is so that fluid in the reservoir regulates the temperature, stops it overheating, and stops it freezing in the winter as well. Question number 3. Can you tell me where the reservoir is for the windscreen wash and tell me how we check it? So this is a reservoir for the windscreen wash. We can see it's assembled very much the same as what's inside the car. Usually we know that when it's run out by pulling back the stalk and nothing comes out. You usually pull the cap back, have a look inside as well, but usually we can't really see much because it kind of sits quite low in the engine. Question number 4. Can you tell me how you would check the level of the oil and tell me what level it should be at? So this here is the dipstick. You can see the symbol on there for the oil. So this is where we fill up, and this is where we check the level. So we don't touch anything because everything's going to be hot. But to check the level of the oil, what we normally do is put a finger in the dipstick. We'd pour that out. We have a really long rod. We'd wipe that clean. Put it back in, pull it back out, and just make sure the oil level is between the minimum and maximum mark. Once we've done all that, then we're going to close the bonnet. To do that, what we're going to do is remove the rod. I'm going to take that back out, place it back in place where it came from before, and then gently close the bonnet. So gently place it down. And then once it's down, then we're just going to give it a firm push. Then that's closed for us. Hiya, I'm Mickey. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with all the new materials and new videos. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or have any recommendations for videos you'd like to see, don't forget to drop me a message or leave a comment. Other than that, just enjoy your lessons and